It's about an hour and a half after we unboxed everything and we have the car up on jack stands. I'm going to start with probably removing the bumper. Go ahead and get that out of the way now. And we're probably going to try to stow it away somewhere down there. Or, I don't know. We'll figure that out. And then we're going to work on taking the exhaust off the car. And then the upper intake. Next up will be the rear end of the gas tank. We actually may wait and do the gas tank last. Just so that we can go ahead and knock out all the hard stuff. As you all know, fuel pumps aren't that hard, so not on Foxbody anyway. So this is the plan, guys. I'm going to go ahead, get started on the car here in just a few minutes, and we're going to do some time lapse. So get used to listening to a lot of music because I'm not going to have a lot of time to kind of point things out because I really don't know what I'm doing for the most part. Also, it's like I have an ON3 parts store over here. So I try to get everything up and kind of out of the way as best as possible. Guys, probably the hardest thing about this is trying to figure out how you want to organize yourself, because these are all parts that I really won't be using right this second, but I can get to them if I need to. Hopefully Andrew will be over after a while. We'll stop the video, we'll come in, we'll interject, and we'll talk. But for right now, let's go ahead and get a time lapse started.
And through war, I can fill up a void. My soul is employed, I'm feeling it, Lord. Through the will of my pen, to the end of my force, I'll carry the sword. Responsible for my own actions. Y'all better act like you know. I ain't no saint, I'm a sinner, but my guardian angel is close. A part of me anchors a ghost, but I can't take back what I've done. You could say that I've hurt people's hope. I didn't do it for fun. All those people that doubted are bummed. I find my joy in their sadness. Learning how not to care takes practice, then becomes a habit. Yeah, it becomes a habit. It's an art form to not giving a
I'm gonna go ahead, interject right here. So as you all can see, we got the bumper off the car. We have the exhaust also off. Got the radiator out and went ahead and completely removed the alternator bracket. I still need to go ahead, remove the upper intake, put the 60-pound injectors in, put all that back on. But for right now, all I want to do tonight is make sure that the headers, you know, will bolt up. I'm probably just going to put 2 bolts in each header just to see how everything sits. Set the turbo down over here, see, you know, if anything's in the way, at least up top. Now we still have the hole underneath of the car that we got to worry about with the crossover pipe and all that, but we need to mock things up as much as possible. So I'll get back to you as soon as I get the headers on the car and get that turbo sitting over there, kind of see how everything fits. See you in a few. All right, guys, we are making progress. Got Andrew over. Everybody's been asking about Andrew. Where's Andrew been? Where has Andrew been?
At work.
Andrew has been on vacation. He's been up there hanging out with Gearhead, Pony 92. Who else? Just hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys that we went to the Fox Resto meet. There was a bunch of guys up there that got channels. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be at work, but he was actually going on vacation.
I don't think so.
Anyway, guys, we've got the headers bolted down, so we're good there. The turbo's just kind of sitting there for mock-up purposes, and it's not been clocked or anything yet, so we don't know exactly how it's supposed to go, but I think it's supposed to point down there. So far, so good. I'm actually loving these headers, and Andrew, he'll verify that. Like,
yeah, they're really nice headers.
That's something that me and Andrew were talking about. I mean, you can get to every bolt on this side with a socket. Headers look good.
They are nicked down a lot right there by the header bolts, but it helps get the bolts in.
That's right.
And they don't hurt really making power on these.
Yeah, I mean, we can just add a little more boost if we need to. So
a lot more.
We got some stuff over here. You know, your AC lines, they're always going to be kind of a tight fit, but we're going to wrap those at least a little bit anyway. And remember, we do have a turbo blanket and a downpipe blanket. So guys, I'm taking every precaution that I can to not burn things up under this hood. So let's take a trip over here. If you guys don't remember, we've got this that we can put around the AC line. We're also going to put a little bit of that around the clutch cable. Right back here is going to be for our spark plugs. We got this for our starter, titanium header wrap. I had everything mocked up really quickly. I'd say probably within an hour and a half.
Then I had to come over here and do it.
So everything was mocked up and looked really good. Everything was, you know, going on good. I had like a couple bolts in the headers. and then Andrew came over and we decided we were going to go ahead and bolt everything down. We've been taking our time. We ate some fried honey buns and some other stuff. That shit's banging too. If you guys don't know, if you've never had a fried honey bun, I'm telling you now, Andrew had his first one tonight, and
you'll definitely get diabetes, but it's worth it though.
Yeah, it's like 3,000 calories for like one honey bun. This is what we got, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up for tonight. Tomorrow, at some point, Andrew's going to come over probably later tomorrow night, and we're going to get back on this thing. We're going to start running some piping. I feel like at this rate, it's probably going to take us, I don't know, probably a week, something like that. You know, if we had like 3 days off straight, I mean, I'm sure we could get it done. But, yeah, I figured just give us about a week or so. What you think? And, you know, we should have it fired up. If we catch a really good day, who knows? So we are moving along at somewhat of a slow pace, I'll say. I did finally get everything laid out as far as the cold piping. Pretty much all the hot piping's done, other than the down pipe right here. Obviously, kind of do that last. But yeah, we're making progress. So where are we at? Well, so far, we have the headers bolted on, which I think I showed you that last night. And now we have the crossover pipe down here, which goes from header to header. Remember, I am no expert. I honestly don't know a lot about turbos. What I'm trying to do is help the absolute novice newbie that knows zero about turbos and about anything like this. So it's kind of where we're headed with this. So let's talk about some of the things that I have noticed so far with this kit. As far as the good goes, man, everything's lined up great. Nothing is tight down here. Everything's still loose. You know, we're in the mock-up kind of phase. The headers, guys, those things went on great. I will recommend to use the longer header bolts that come with these things. I had some nice ARPs, but I decided not to use them. We're just going to stick with these because the flanges are really, really thick on these headers. So you want to make sure you get some good thread engagement. Let's see, everything down here bolted up fine. You got your V-band clamps right here. This side's going to be a 2.5 inch, and this one down here where it bolts to the header is going to be a 3 inch. So, you know, don't get those confused. If you're having an issue, that's probably what that is. Down here is where your wastegate's going to go. So we have yet to install that. We'll get to that after a while. So far, we have clocked the turbo. So if you guys don't know what that is, I know most of you do. All you do is loosen up these bolts right here and right here. And what that'll do is allow you to twist the turbo to face in whatever direction you need it to face. Honestly, at this point, do not know how this thing needs to face at like what angle down here. We're just going to have to see. Now, you're going to have to do the same thing on the exhaust housing. So go ahead and loosen those up. And what that does is as you twist the turbo, it lines up your oil feed right here and then your oil drain, which is right under here. That oil drain has to sit, you know, pretty much straight down. So if your oil feed is sitting straight up and down, then your oil drain will be sitting straight up and down also. You are going to have to bend these AC lines. It's scary, I know. Just take your time with it, but you're going to have to bend them out of the way. Mine aren't completely bent where they need to be yet, because I do think the filter is going to hit. But we'll do some more massaging on that, and we should be able to address that. So this is a look from underneath the car. As you can see, I have a short oil filter right here. This is an STP S3 512, which is a cross reference from the Wix oil filter. So there's plenty of small oil filters out here that'll work for you guys. Just kind of look around. Up here, as you can see, we have the oil feed. So you have to run this little adapter up here. So that's your oil feed. That just screws in, guys. Nothing to it. Angle it the way you want to. And your oil feed, I'll probably have to make some adjustments on that, but just angle it and you should be pretty good on that. But as far as the piping goes, check it out, guys. Everything fit really, really nice. That's just a little update for right now. Andrew's going to be over after a while, and we're going to go ahead and like really start busting this out. We've not tapped into the oil pan yet, so that's going to be fun. We've got all this stuff left to do, but these are the little things that are going to make you feel better. When your headers go on without a hitch, and the crossover pipe down here goes on without a hitch, and you clock your turbo and you kind of get everything, you know, facing in the right direction, it's going to make you feel really good. Andrew's sorry butt should be over here soon, and when he gets over here, I'm going to put him to work, because I know you guys like to see Andrew work, because he never does anything. Let's just be honest. Andrew laughs at me about my cart, about my little homeless shopping cart here. I mean, that's what it looks like, guys. It's got crap hanging off of it everywhere. He laughs at me, but man, I'm telling you what, so far, this thing has been awesome. I'm able to roll it right up to the car, get everything that I want. Whenever you pull the one drawer out, like you don't have to guess like what drawer do I need to pull out to get to my wrenches or whatever, right? You pull one out. I've got this little divider, and you're only putting the wrenches in there that you really use. So that's my standard, that's my metric, and guys, it's pretty much everything I need right there. All my extensions and stuff, some miscellaneous shit. I don't know, I'm loving it. This thing right here has been awesome. I think it's like 89 bucks from Harbor Freight. So set yourself up for success, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anytime you're doing something like this, clean your area up as best you can. Clean your area up as best you can, and give yourself some room. Organize everything, and it'll make you feel a lot better about the project. It won't seem so overwhelming. All right, well, I'll get back to you once we get some more progress.
Yeah, back to what I do. Catfish, Billy, baby, hello, how are you? Yo, our 9 rappers like a power line, fell into a swimming pool. I think I got the whole crew. Ooh, let me know what y'all wanna do. I bought a 30-pack of creek water, baby boo.
We can go to the inside. Yeah, we'll just go down like that on the back side. That should give us some room. So as you can see, not a lot of progress. Have got the intercooler kind of halfway mounted. So what we realized was on our clamps we had them facing out, and that's where the bumper support sits. So we're going to rotate them around and probably have to lower this, guys. We actually got the intercooler way up here, and it looks like everything was going to fit, but it actually started to cause problems with fitment on the front bumper up here.
Probably good to lower it anyway so we don't get in the way of the balance here.
Yeah, so we want to go ahead and lower it a little bit, and you know, you're either going to trim here or trim there, but we'll show you guys in a few minutes exactly what I was talking about. But essentially what it's doing is it sits so high it's hitting up here. So we want to get it down here where we can just trim this out. One of the things that we noticed on this kit is the oil drain is really big, so it causes some interference. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we've been kind of messing around with that, and as far as like clocking the turbo, getting everything just right, that's about as good as we can get it. The turbo actually needs to be probably out just a little bit more this way, but I think we're gonna be okay. Looks like, you know, we don't have any clearance issues down here. Blow off valve's gonna go over there. Hopefully we got room for it. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room for it over here. So that's where we're at right now. Guys, we're still learning, you know, so I don't really have any tips per se at the moment. We did go get some flat bar, so this is just aluminum. That's what we'll make our brackets out of. And we read online that people were using a plumb bob for the oil pan punch, so that's what we're gonna try. We did get the fitting right here. I don't know if I showed you guys that or not. So we're going to use that. Nothing really to show you yet. So I'm not going to do a time lapse or anything because it's just going to be a bunch of up and down and tweaking. But once we get it figured out, I'll show you guys what we did to make this thing fit. So the intercooler's probably a little high. So if you look down here, you can see where it's hitting right here. So it's probably still a little high. We can trim that, but boy, I do not want to trim this fiberglass. We've got it all in our arms and everything already. These are the things that are probably the most aggravating whenever it comes to installs like this, because anything goes. I mean, you figure it out on your own. I know there's people out there that have obviously done it, had success with it. I'm not much of a fabricator myself. I hate to cut on stuff, but I mean, you're just gonna have to cut stuff. So that's just the way it goes. But as you can see, the majority of the kit goes together without cutting anything, without doing anything. All this has been done without one single thing being cut. So now comes the time when we have to make a decision. So let us get back to this. I'll get back up with you in a few minutes and let you know what we did. Whew. We got fiberglass all over us. Tried to cut my finger off, as you can see, like right there. It's been a fun night. So we didn't know how this was going to work out in the beginning, to be honest with you. We threw this thing up here and we were just looking at each other. How in the hell is this going to work? Like, there's no way this is going to work. So with that being said, any of you that have not done this, if you do put an ON3 turbo kit on your car, and that's all I can speak for, Things are just not going to seem like they're going to work. Andrew can agree here.
Yeah.
It's just going to look like it's not going to work, and then all of a sudden everything's just going to kind of go together. So the best tip I can give you is just take your time, don't get frustrated, and just keep working with it. Make small changes, and all of a sudden everything will just fall into place. We're not done yet, so I'm not saying that everything's falling into place for us and will, but it's looking pretty good right now.
I think we got the hard part done.
Yeah, so this is where we're at on this, and it's ugly. None of this is pretty, guys. It just is what it is. So we had to cut out the bracket here because the intercooler piping lays right in there. So no problem there. It just barely lays down inside of there. And then we just cut this off from right here back and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And same thing down here. So that's really it. That's not a lot. I mean, you'll need a cutoff wheel and like a Sawzall or something. That'll work. And you should be able to do that. I don't see any way of you being able to do it without making some cuts. I think some people said they have in the past. But we do have the intercooler up really high. So I don't know if I showed you guys that earlier. We have the intercooler up really high on the car, which is the way I wanted it. So what we're probably going to have to do is I want to get some pieces of rubber. So I'll have to kind of just source that. But a little piece of rubber just to lay in between here, to stick in between these so that it doesn't bounce around. Now we are going to try to pull it out a little bit, obviously. But we want it as tucked up and as tight as possible. All right, that's where we're at. We're going to go ahead, finish putting the bumper support on, and I don't know, we may tap the oil pan tonight, but that's about it. I don't think we're going to keep going much further tonight, but pretty good day, I would say, overall. And tell you what, we'll see you guys in a few minutes with another update. No, yeah. Andrew done burned himself now.
How burning myself? Fabricating.
Fabricate. Andrew said he's fabricating. So we had to make ourselves a few little brackets, or a couple brackets actually. And like everybody uses, it's just regular old stock Lowe's actually. Just look at the mess first. Look at this, guys. Look at the bumper situation. That's all used to be bumper. Look at all this. So I guess I could go ahead and show you guys, because nobody really shows this, I've noticed, because we've trust me, we've looked. I may have to brighten it up. Anyway, guys, I had to cut all of this out right here. All of this top section of the bumper out. And it's cut all the way back into here. So as you can see. So originally we had the intercooler too high. And we thought that was going to work because it'd clear everything as far as down here on the bottom. Didn't work out that way. Intercooler had to be dropped down. All in all, I guess if we had to do it again, we could probably move along a lot quicker with it, but this has been the longest part by far. I mean, we've been working on this for 4 or 5 hours, just moving this, moving that, because I mean, we don't know where it's supposed to sit. We've never done this before. But look, I mean, guys, we hacked all of this stuff out up here, which is fine. Gives us a lot of extra room. And now I'm going to come in and cut this little section off right here. Anyway, you guys probably can't see it. Andrew, look at trying to give me something hot. I done burnt myself like 6 times. I have cut myself with the cutoff wheel. Look at that. There and there. Shit's real in the garage. I am no fabricator, obviously. I don't even have to tell you guys that. But I will tell you this. People that say that this stuff just bolts right on and just goes together. If you're not going to run a bumper or a bumper support, it bolts right up. I mean, right up. No problems whatsoever. The problem comes in if you're wanting to not completely hack your bumper up, your bumper cover, I should say. But let's see, what tips can we give them, Andrew, if any?
Line this side of the
intercooler
up with this bolt, and you want it about the top of the intercooler about 2 inches above that fiberglass piece.
That's true. So that's something that we kind of found out.
That was the biggest thing that we had to work with for hours.
So if you line the intercooler up with this part of the bracket, which is your bumper bracket right here, right? So that's where that's going to go. That gives you the ability. That's why this hole's a little bigger right here. So that's going to sit there, and then that hole, that bolt's going to go through that hole right there. Now this side over here, we got lazy. This side over here is going to have self-tapping screws holding it. And then we're going to do some brackets across the bottom, but not right now. Anyway, that's about the main thing. Like if you're trying to figure out which way your intercooler should go, that's the best info I can give you. So let's step back, take a look at it real quick. Like get down here. I mean, that's about where this thing needs to sit. So it's a little over about 3 fingers right here to the bottom of your latch. So far now for us that works. It's gonna be different for LXs probably and other stuff like that.
Hot dog fingers, it might be 3.5.
It could be. I got pretty big hands and other stuff. So right.
You can't use that shit on you.
I am going to use it on YouTube. Why? Anyway, we are not flush with the bottom, so the intercooler is not hanging below this bracket right here. As you can see, all this stuff that we cut out right here worked out really good. Over here, it's all right. So this is the problem that you're going to run into. More than likely, I can at least say with an Aero 87 and 93 GT, is this bolt right here is going to have to be shaved down a good bit just to make sure we don't hit. So that's what that is. If you have an aftermarket bigger throttle body, you're probably going to have to source this thing, because me and Andrew had to get the heat gun out and push that thing down over this and heat it up just so that we could flare it out enough to get it over this. Now the clamp won't go on it, so the clamp's too small. So you know, it is what it is, guys. The clocking of the turbo was somewhat of a nightmare. Just, we still got a bolt over here that we have to put back in it because we couldn't clock it just right because it kept hitting the oil drain. So guys, just work through it. I mean, that's all I can tell you. If you need to file a bolt down, which we did, we sanded the head of one of these bolts down so it would try to kind of clear the drain tube. You gotta do what you gotta do, guys. You can do it. Anybody can do this. I hope I've been recording. Anyway, so let me give you guys a quick update. I'm about out of memory, so let me get you guys under here. We did run the oil drain. We tapped the line, and anyway, you can't really see it, but that's it right up there. Oil drain's been done. Yeah, that went pretty smooth for the most part. So yeah, guys, we're getting there. I'll give you some more updates probably in the next day or so. So in the last video you saw where, you know, we kind of mocked everything up, which is basically what this is right now. There's a few things down here that are tight, but most everything's just mocked up. Oh, by the way, did throw the new SVE radiator in, and now as you can see, we have plenty of clearance down here, so no issues there. Since then, which, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I have installed the blow-off valve, so we just got to run the vacuum lines to that. Also down here, I made 2 brackets. Those are basically to space out the intercooler. So I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. If you look down there, the intercooler where it meets the condenser, there's a couple millimeter gap there. And also the intercooler is angled back. So that's all by design. What that bottom bracket does is allow you to tilt the intercooler back and forth. Also, you know, obviously it makes it more stable. But if you look down here, the top of the radiator is angled in. Like I said, that's the way we wanted it. We have had to cut and cut and cut, guys. And honestly, I need to cut a little bit more out of this bracket right here, out of this housing. So this pipe doesn't, you know, so it doesn't rub a hole or something in it. All of this in here has been cut out, hacked out, but it works. So, you know, whatever, I'm good with that. Over here the same way, a lot of the stuff has been cut out. So the bumper fits pretty good. Still probably needs a little bit of tweaking. And also we have the wastegate on, and just kind of test fitting everything with the blanket on. Nothing is like hooked up, so I know it looks kind of somewhat complete, but it's not. The turbo's about to come back off so that we can put the gasket on it, finish clocking the turbo correctly, and also tighten up the hot side. So the crossover pipe has got to be tightened up too. To keep from hacking up the bumper, try to keep your intercooler as low as possible. Be careful, because there's like a sweet spot. If you go too low, you're going to have to cut the bottom of your bumper. If you go too high, you're going to have to cut a lot of the top of your bumper out. So I think this is about the sweet spot. I just wanted to give you an update to show you kind of how everything's looking. It's looking really good so far. back at you one more time. So I thought I'd give you guys a quick update. I have pretty much tightened everything down, so everything should be tight and good to go. I think I covered that in the last video, so if I did, excuse me. As you can see, we now have the 3G alternator on the car, so I know that'll make a lot of you happy. These bands, don't mind those. Those were just there to see if I wanted to kind of keep these running together. And not really sure on that. I'm not going to use the metal bands either way. I don't want them to cut into anything, but I may zip tie these up or do something with them. Anyway, guys, we're kind of wrapping this thing up. I mean, we've got most everything done that we need done as far as up here goes anyway. Blow-off valve's on. Wastegate is on. We just got to run our vacuum lines. We got to run our boost controller. And yeah, all the oil drains, everything's tight. So we should be good to go up here. Now, I say that. All but this right here. You can probably look in there and see that these two pipes do not want to meet up. That's going to be fun. I'm probably going to have to trim those. And I don't understand why, because from my understanding, you don't actually have to do that. Or you shouldn't have to, but whatever. It is what it is. Tips that I can give you from right here, right now. As far as the alternator bracket goes, man, they don't really send the right hardware. So that kind of is a little aggravating there. So right here, you see now nothing's hooked up, but you can see the alternator move. So it does its job, but it's supposed to have the correct bolts and spacer right here, but that's incorrect. So I'm going to have to figure something else out. I mean, it works, but when you tighten this down right here, when you tighten the alternator up, it really puts this in a bind, because that's way back there and this is way out here. So you guys can kind of see that's really too much of an angle. LMR has a decent video on the bracket kit, so if you're kind of confused about that, just check out LMR on YouTube. They have a little video there. This coupler right here does not like to sit on this throttle body. I don't know what we're going to do about that, honestly. It does not want to stay, so we may have to try to source another coupler or something else. I ordered a new T-bolt clamp for it, so hopefully that'll come in, and it's a half size bigger. So hopefully that'll clamp down and lock it in. And obviously we still have the down pipe to do. So this is just sitting up here for mock-up purposes. Guys, this down pipe is worrying me. I'm not gonna lie. There's not a lot of room down in there. I don't know if it's got to come up from the bottom or from the top. I hadn't researched that, so I'm sure you guys already know. By the time you watch this video, I'll probably have it figured out. So we are 2 days into working on this thing, and we're about, I don't know, probably 80% done, I guess. We still have to do the injectors, which that's no big deal, and the fuel pump and the Y pipe. So that could be, you know, I think a solid day, and we'll be able to wrap this thing up. Problem is, I don't have a lot of time off. So anyway, guys, here's your quick update. If I think of anything else that will help you along the way, I'll cover it for you guys. But right now, I'm just taking you along for the ride. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching.